On October 27, 2015, Jimmy Fallon, the host of The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, announced that he was working with Universal Studios Florida to make a Tonight Show-themed ride, set to open in 2017. On the same day, Universal Studios Florida announced that the special effects show, Twister, Ride It Out, would permanently close for the new ride in November. The name of the new ride was Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon. Before we talk about the ride, let's look at a summary of the show it's based on. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon first premiered on February 17, 2014. The show featured host Jimmy Fallon, announcer Steve Higgins, and the house band The Roots. It should also be mentioned that before The Tonight Show, Jimmy Fallon was instead a talk show host on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon from 2009 until 2014. Prior to hosting The Tonight Show, Jimmy Fallon already pitched the idea of a ride based on his Late Night with Jimmy Fallon show to Universal Creative. Universal Creative would reject the idea, however. It wouldn't be until Jimmy started hosting The Tonight Show that Mark Woodbury, president of Universal Creative at the time, would reach out to Fallon to finally make the ride a reality. The ride is a motion simulator, not a surprise at all as it comes from Universal, which features the use of 3D, water, smoke, and even scent effects to make the ride more fun. Filming of the ride film would begin in November 2015. Construction on the new ride started in December 2015, with the demolition of the Twister Show building, aka Soundstage 50. Real work began in March 2016, with the construction of the facade and the ride itself. Fast forward to January 2017, Universal along with Jimmy Fallon announced that Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon would open in April 2017. To hype up fans for the moving chairs that smelled like pizza, The Tonight Show would film a few episodes in Universal Studios Florida on the days leading up to the opening in April, with Jimmy along with a few celebrities experiencing the ride for themselves. After years of development, Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon officially opened at Universal Studios Florida on April 6, 2017.
Everybody's talking about my tight pants in Orlando. I got a brand new ride. Everybody's talking about my tight pants in Orlando. I got a brand new ride.
Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon. Come on and take the show for a ride. Only at Universal Orlando Resort. I'll see you at the starting line.
Located in New York at the park, guests enter the ride by making it to 30 Rockefeller Plaza, where the show is filmed. After going through displays of The Tonight Show, guests watch a performance by the Ragtime Gals and #the Panda. Jimmy Fallon then welcomes the guests, and after watching a pre-show and safety video, guests get a pair of 3D glasses and hop on board the quote-unquote flying theater, which can seat up to 72 people. Once the curtains open, Higgins introduces Jimmy and starts the countdown, with Jimmy getting a head start. The guests and Jim crash through backstage, passing by characters like the Tight Pants Guy and #the Panda. After breaking a hole in the wall, Jimmy and the guests are greeted by New York City with traffic, lots of traffic. The group makes it to Times Square where the guests take the lead as Jimmy John gets blocked by traffic. The celebration doesn't last long, though, as Jimmy quickly takes the lead again. On the New York subway, Jimbo and the guests pass by the Ragtime Gals, with Jimmy in the moving chair on a tunnel. Fallon takes a huge lead as guests are immediately confronted with a train. The train hits the guests as they make it to a platform that's still under construction. Guests make it to the first checkpoint, where Jimmy can be seen eating pizza, with Sarah without an H, and Gary holding the Tonight Show Golden Retriever puppies. The Night Mobile and Flying Theater begin to fly, and Jimmy throws pizza at the guests, which lets out a pizza scent effect. After throwing pizzas, Jim then launches t-shirts with a t-shirt cannon. The team passes the second checkpoint where they go underwater and nearly miss getting eaten by a shark. After passing the Statue of Liberty, the group then arrives at the Empire State Building, with for some reason a 300 feet #the Panda is holding onto the spire. Pa then grabs the guests, and instead of making the guests fall to their deaths, he launches them to the moon, where the Roots can be seen performing. Jimmy then writes a thank you note to the moon, blowing moon dust onto the guests. The BFFs then make it to the space train, the first roller coaster on the moon. Once it's complete, it's still under construction. The train falls back to Earth, with Jimmy quickly launching a tube that is similar to the tube on Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem. Jimmy and the guests make it back to HQ, with Jimmy and the guests fighting for first place. The guests hit Jimmy out of the way as they cross the finish line, winning the race. Jimmy Fallon says GG as he congratulates the guests on beating him. He then thanks them for coming and tells them to come and race him again. The curtains close, with guests unboarding the Flying Theater and exiting at the Tonight Store, where Jimmy Fallon merchandise is sold. When the ride opened, mixed reactions were shared with the 4-minute attraction by guests. Some think that it's a nice new addition to the park rather than the already outdated Twister show, while others think otherwise, just seeing it as another motion simulator attraction. And on that note, this concludes the history of Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon. Thank you for watching my very first theme park history video. If you want to see more chaos in the future, be sure to like and subscribe, as well as comment down below what ride you would like to see in the next episode. Once again, thank you for watching and